don't need now to repeat a good morning. Everybody is wide awake after the excellent lecture by Kulkarni sir. My topic is actually about awareness. I am concerned with lack of coverage by media of our fishermen community. Not only fishermen community, the issue is actually lack of awareness about our naval security, our position of India in the world-class navies, position of India in the naval exports and things like that. See, what has happened, India has become a dependent country. India has been occupied by the European powers solely because of their naval superiority. And they were able to come to India because we forgot our naval tradition. Our naval tradition, by the way, goes far back. Even in Rigveda, which is 6,000 years ago, there has been mentions about King Tugra, Rishi King Tugra, his son Bujju, who had led a naval battle. And he had, his ship had foundered, then he was saved and things like that. Coming down in historical line, Ashoka, the Emperor Ashoka, in the year 232 before Christ, he had issued edicts and he had given copper plates across the country, across his empire, telling about how to protect yourself from the piracy, how the king will be punishing pirates terribly, because India was dependent on the trade with the rest of the world. Many of us don't know that in the year 1700, India's share of the world GDP was 36%, China's was 28%. All this was possible because of the export from India of artifacts like handicraft items, spices, silk and cotton fabrics. This was possible because of the naval superpower. India was a naval superpower in those days and all this trade was going on. What happened after the Europeans came in? Today even India's share of the world GDP is only 3%. And that is because we have neglected our naval, our attention to the Navy. The neglect continues even now. How many of us know that in next to the coast of Kandivali-Borivali coast, there had been a major naval battle fought in the year 1196. And a commemoration of that naval battle is in Borivali, in Exar. There is a club called Aqua Club in Exar, and there are three large 8-feet hero stones. There are sculptures there in Borivali which depict that battle. These are one of the only naval battle depicting sculptures, and people have studied those sculptures, and I still hope that those sculptures are put at a more prominent location, particularly in the naval dockyards or near Lion Gate somewhere, because that is our history. And a battle was conducted between ships, and that time there was no steam engine, so there are ships rowed by a bank of rowmen and by rowing. And then they fought the battle. The battle was between the king in Somadev was the king in Kandivali-Borivali area. He was Shilahar king. The battle was from Vijayanagar Empire. The Prime Minister of Vijayanagar sent a naval fleet and they defeated Somadev. Somadev actually died in the battle in the sea. That's why this hero stone is put in his commemoration. So India was involved in naval operations. The first, it is interesting that sir mentioned about Thane. The first jihadi attack on India was done in the year 700 by a group of Arab pirates, and they came to Chendani Naka in Thane and they killed a lot of people on ground. All this happened because we were not aware of the situation around us. And that situation continues even till now. I will give you a very recent example. You know the concept of exclusive economic zone. Exclusive economic zone in the international waters is an area up to 200 nautical miles from the shoreline. Up to 200 nautical miles, a country can actually exploit the resources of that particular area, mineral resources, fish resources, everything, and nobody else can enter that area. Beyond that, it becomes international waters. Now there is a provision that if your coastline has a continental shelf, then that continental shelf becomes the beginning of the measurement, and you can extend this exclusive economic zone by 150 nautical miles further. So in short, we can become, the area becomes 350 nautical miles from the Indian shoreline. Now, lack of awareness to such an extent that Pakistan has already done this and they have got the UN sanction for increasing their nautical mile up to 350. They achieved it in 2011 to 2014. India has started the efforts now. In 2017, we have lodged in our request for this, and United Nations naval bodies are taking particular care of this. Hopefully, by this year, we will get the permission, which means we will extend more than 60% our ability to exploit our own natural resources. This couldn't happen because our people, including I am sure our rulers at that time, were not even aware that such a thing exists. And this has happened because the awareness has not been propagated by media. Government cannot do everything, that we must agree. So media, which is all-pervading and all-powerful, as sir was mentioning, media has to take this challenge, and NGOs have to take this challenge. And to do that, we have to introduce these subjects right in the curricula of the high schools. People should know what all things are about. Sir was mentioning about the mangrove forest. Mangrove is called Kandalvan in Marathi, and Tibar or Kandalvan. Mangrove is very important because mangrove is the place where large tides and rough sea cannot enter. That's why many small creatures take refuge in mangrove, and that is where all this, it's a hatchery for fish and alike. So if mangroves are not there, the fish population decreases, which is a big problem because fish is one of the highest source of protein. How many of you will know that India is the second largest marine products exporter in the world? But it is not a cause of rejoicing because the first marine product exporter in the world is China, and which is 10 times India. India's shoreline is also very big, but we are not able to exploit this shoreline for two reasons: that we don't have a good presence of our naval forces trawling and naval forces crawling in our exclusive economic zone and preventing the trawlers which keep coming and looting our fisheries. Secondly, modern technology is not there. According to a survey, our fishery export can increase more than 90% if the proper technology is involved. And it is high time that the government takes notice, it is high time that the industry takes notice, that we start increasing this, because day by day, looking at the climate change, the land resources for grain and all are going to be severely affected. Probably our saving grace would be the resources from the sea. This is the living resources from the sea. The resources of the sea are also the mineral resources. Everybody knows about oil. But India's sea coast actually contains something which is much more important, which is called the monazite sand, which contains thorium, which is a nuclear material. And thorium can be used to generate power. India is still currently doing the experiment. It is the only country in the world which is developing what is called fast breeder nuclear reactor, which will use this thorium. And this thorium is not only on the beach, it actually extends below in the sea also. So with the exclusive economic zone, we will be able to exploit this resource, we will be able to take this out and create a power source which our country needs badly. Now all these matters I am saying, they need to be depicted in the media in a very highlighted way. Just to tell you, the fisher folk in the media, all people know is Gegere Saiba. Whenever fishermen are mentioned, Koli Geet and Gegere Saiba type of dances is the only thing people know about fishermen. They don't know the trouble they go through. How many fishermen are there? According to the last census, 40 lakh people depend on fishery industry only, and their families and all. It's a large chunk of people. We have over 8,000 kilometers of coastline, and more than that, around 50,000 miles of inland waterways are there in India, which can be exploited for fisheries. The maximum fish which we collect actually is in equal number marine fish and sweetwater fish. So it's a big industry. This industry needs to be highlighted. People need to know about this industry. Today's young people should know what are the possible opportunities in this industry, and there are many such opportunities. I'm sure that the universities and the education ministry takes notice of this and introduce courses which actually give some credence for this particular fields. And students can then come. Joining the Navy is not the only option for students to join the Navy. Joining Merchant Navy, joining Indian Navy, and there are so many industries about fishery industry, processing of the fish, prawn culture, aquaculture, all these things are important. We should be able to do that. Japan is currently experimenting upon the seaweeds as the highest source of protein for the vegetarian folks. That is one industry which we can look at, because we have been blessed by nature and a very large coastline, and most importantly, the coastline of America is much bigger than India, but half of the coastline is frozen in winter. Coastline of Russia is completely frozen in winter. Our coastline is open all the year round. There is no winter problem. The sea is teeming with fish because of the tropical climate, the fish is in abundance. We should make advantage of this, and to make advantage of this, it is very important that we become aware. Our television programs, for example, hardly any program comes about fishing. The only program you see when the fishermen are lost to sea, or when there is a storm coming up, or when there is a seafood festival. Otherwise, we don't even know that these people exist. And Bombay, Shiv Sena, for example, keeps fighting for Bombay for locals and all. You know who are the locals in Bombay? The only locals in Bombay are the fishermen folk. We are all from external sources. We never came to Bombay to fish. The fishermen were the local people. Unfortunately, their voices are heard the least because they are not united enough, and secondly because they are not given enough attention by the media and the NGOs. It is high time that all our people, the people here, take this message home and then start talking with whoever they meet. I will keep talking with the media personalities all the time. I keep telling them we have to concentrate on media. We have to send teams along with the fishermen for a day trip to fishing and things like that. No, none of us have ever gone on a fishing trip. It's an exhilarating experience. You get seasick, but that's part of the deal. I mean, there's nothing wrong in that. So we should, as a young, all the young folk here, I would really advise, urge them to pay more attention into what can be done to use the maximum coastline which we have, the good fishery products which we can produce, and good foreign exchange India can earn by these fishery products. I am sure this message will go home to the right people and will be able to make much more than what has been done right now. And I sincerely hope that this year we get our exclusive economic zone extended to 350 nautical miles, which will increase our revenue and our potential to exploit these resources. Also, our Bombay Eye will come within the exclusive economic zone with that. Currently it is on the borderline. Because of the borderline, we are exploiting it in a minimal manner, but we should be able to do that much better once this extension is granted. And extension granting is only a matter of time. It needs to be pursued very strongly at the United Nations. Current government is doing what it can, but as civilian population, as a non-government organization, as media, it's our duty to create so much awareness that there is a pressure on all the bodies which are concerned in this and will be able to get more and more out of the sea. We will be able to get a protection out of the sea. If we had paid attention to the fishermen community, perhaps Ajmal Kasab would not have entered Mumbai because they would have been alerted much earlier than in advance. If we had provided good protection for our fishermen folk who go into the sea. Currently, how many of you know almost 300 to 500 fishermen folk are in the jails in Pakistan because Pakistan Navy came and captured them saying that you have crossed over into our area. There are some zones in the area where the GPS doesn't work, and that's why sometimes Sri Lanka prisons also have some fishermen folk from our side. We need to we need to make aware across the country the plight of these people, because when they go for 6 months along, they don't even return. There has been some very good articles about this in this year's Diwali issue of Maharashtra, and I urge you to those who read Marathi articles to read that particular article about how the fishermen folk are suffering in Gujarat particularly when their bread earners are in Pakistan, languishing in Pakistani jail. So all these things need to come to the fore if we are aware, and to make aware, it's the job of the media. To push the media is the job of the NGOs. Let us all unite and create something good for the country. Thank you very much.